Céline.
And I'm Chris.
And this is Georgia Living Podcast. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah. Gosh, we've done a lot of civic stuff lately.
Yes, a lot.
All right, well, let's start out last week. Tons of work around the old Land Cruiser to get it ready for all this stuff. So, between painting the trailer.
Well, you are a Land Cruiser fanatic.
I am.
Yes.
Painting the trailer. So, rattle can red, as I like to call it. Keeping it nice and shiny. Boy, that paint was dull and dim before. But looks great now. Got the trailer ready, cleaned the car, washed the car, had to get out the ladder to scrub like the roof. Did a ton of little deferred maintenance there, and Saturday we got it out for the Veterans Day Parade.
Yeah, I think that so Veterans Day is Tuesday on the 11th, but a lot of the times...
Was, because...
What? Yeah.
We're recording this on Veterans Day, y'all. We've been doing a lot of stuff. So you're not hearing this on Veterans Day. So we're going to talk about what we did on Veterans Day.
Well, but
we celebrated it this weekend.
Anyways, so the schools, I don't think they want to take that many students out of class for a parade on Tuesday. So they decided, well, it'd be much better if we do it on a Saturday so that, everyone can participate and not really take out of testing schedules or anything, because Veterans Day is right before Thanksgiving break, and that's when a lot of the testing is happening as well. They're trying to wrap things up, trying to get it done for Thanksgiving holiday so that everyone can go home and see their families. So it was Saturday, and I don't think that it was any less exciting, because to us it was really great. If you want to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so let's start this. For the last 2.5-3 months or so, you've been working on this big project in collaboration with the Children of the American Revolution and the Daughters of the American Revolution to do a Quilt of Valor.
Yes.
And a Quilt of Valor, for y'all who have never heard of it before, is a quilt that is presented to a veteran for their service. It is while they are alive. And you've been working very diligently to one, make a quilt, have it completed and long-armed, get all the photos done, send off, and get all like the custom pieces made. So Saturday, before the Veterans Day Parade, we were joined by DAR, the Marietta Daily Journal, and some veterans from the Vietnam Veteran Alliance that were right next to us in the parade setup, along with the kids from CAR, and presented the Quilt of Valor to your father.
Yeah, so the Quilt of Valor is an actual organization, and they have done thousands of these. You can make one for somebody, or you can donate your quilting skills to give others quilts as well. And they do sell quilt kits. I didn't know that, but they do. I went on their website. I've been quilting for a very long time, though. So I had my own stash. I had my own fabric. I mean, it lives in our cupboards, and it can come out of your ears, really.
It could.
Yeah. So I didn't need any of those quilt kits or anything, and I didn't know that they existed until yesterday, actually.
That's cool.
Yeah. But it's an actual organization. I am not part of it, but I participated. And it's to give a warm hug to veterans who might need it. I think quilts are very special. It might just be what people call a blanket. It's a quilt. But I think it has a little bit more meaning than a blanket, because quilts, they're part of our history.
It's an American tradition.
Yeah, think about it. Nobody got rid of their fabric. They reused it after it was worn for clothing, and they would take baby clothes or whatever it was, and they would piece them together, and that would be their bedspread, right? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, especially true in pioneer times where you see all those old movies, they're in the wagons and they have the quilt hanging out the side, right?
Nothing wasted.
Nothing. So the time that it takes to create these, like you were mentioning, it's significant because first you have to gather all the materials. Then you have to figure out, okay, what pattern am I going to do, right? Am I going to make this way? Is it going to fit? I don't know. I use ChatGPT to do the calculations because I was like, I can't, my brain's not working right now. Help me here.
It comes in handy for that stuff.
It does. Yeah. It really does. And, you can't really mess up numbers too much. So, but I think this took about 3 months to create.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You started it. It took about, 3 or 4 weeks for you to get the quilt block done, and then photos with the kids.
Oh, you mean the top?
Yeah, I mean the top, and then we had photos with CAR. Then you had to send off and make the back part with the DD-214 and the picture, and get that back and send it off for long arming. It was several months in the making.
Yeah, so that is actually not a standard thing. I don't know if you knew that.
I don't know anything about quilting. I just watch you do it.
Well, on the back, my dad's redacted DD-214 because I didn't want his social or anything out there, right? Because he's still alive.
Smart.
Yeah. Blacked it out. Yeah. And then also a dedication plaque is printed in fabric and fabric ink. I have not washed it, and I think my mom's terrified of washing that because she doesn't want it to fade. But usually on the back of quilts, it just says quilted by, or, it's a little thing. It's nothing as significant as what I did for my dad, which is a picture printed in fabric of the kids holding the quilt top before it was quilted, a big group of them for CAR, Children of the American Revolution. And also, like you said, his DD-214 side by side, so that whoever this quilt is passed on to, they're going to know exactly who made it, what it was for, who presented it, a picture of them holding it, and his entire service history side by side on the back of the quilt, which is very, very unique, I think.
It's definitely a one-of-a-kind quilt.
Yeah.
and your dad had no idea that it was happening, so...
No! Yeah, walk me through what you saw in your eyes.
So your parents showed up. All the ladies from DAR were showing up. The Marietta Daily Journal showed up.
Hiding.
She found me, which was great because I kind of gave her the rundown and told her it's a surprise and he has no idea yet. So she went off and stood where, other parade folks were kind of congregating and just kind of staging. And then we wanted to all do like a group photo, so we got Victor in the center. And then last minute, we kind of switched with Melissa, and she was kind of right there in the center. Melissa Tanner is with DAR.
Yeah, so she...
What's the position?
She's our chapter regent.
Regent, yeah.
Yes, and she is the wife of Tom Tanner, who is the pastor at Riverstone Church, right across from...
the Marietta Country Club. Right?
No, that's on the same side as Marietta Country Club. But the school.
Is it Mount Perrin?
Mount Perrin.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mount Perrin. So they're right across from there in the Kennesaw area.
Yeah, it's right off of Stylesboro and Barrett.
Mm-hmm.
So she kind of went right next to your dad, and as they're taking photos, she says these very kind words, presents him with the quilt, and honors him. While a marching band was passing right in front of us. Like this, you can't plan this stuff. It was just serendipity, and I think it was really cool that, as the marching bands were lining up, they were playing and they were going to their staging area for the parade route while this was happening. So it was a little hard to hear some of the things that she said, but it was such a cool moment that the parade was like the marching band was playing, Victor's getting honored. So yeah, it was great. And then the Marietta Daily Journal interviewed him afterwards, which was great. Fortunately, because the marshals for the parade were trying to push us to the staging area while he was being interviewed. So I'm getting all the ladies onto the trailer and getting everything lined up so that as soon as his interview was done, we just went and got in line.
I think he was truly surprised.
It was fun. It was a great day.
Didn't you ask him if he knew what was going on?
Yeah, he had no idea. I asked the other night. I went over and saw him and just asked, "Hey, how was it?" And he goes, "Oh man, that was incredible."
Oh, you didn't tell me that.
I said, "Did you have any?" I asked him if he had any clue what was going on. He goes, "Nah, I had no idea."
No idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. So. And then you said my mom took like 2 hours taking a picture of the quilt.
Yeah, she did. And she posted it this morning for Veterans Day.
Oh, yeah?
So it's out on her Facebook, and she took a picture of. She put the quilt on the floor in the foyer, and then just went up to the second floor and was like taking a bunch of different angles of it. Apparently,
see, quilts mean a lot to everybody.
They do,
because they're all handmade. They're always one of a kind, and
the amount of time that goes into them is ridiculous.
The imperfections of them, because it's not factory made. You know, you're going to have little puckers, you know, here and there where it didn't quite line up. Or, you know, if you're absolutely neurotic about it, you could make it perfect. But not everyone does. There's going to be imperfections. It's a tangible item. And the thing about it is that I think quilts have meaning because not only because of the history and literal, you know, using old pieces of clothing for that, because it's a continuation of that and a memorial, but also just the beauty of it. You know, there are always quilt exhibitions and things like that. And then they also capture the times, because if you think about it, there are quilts from 1930s, and they're using the sacks from the feed sacks that they used to print the fabric on so that they could reuse them for dresses for farm kids. You can see how our country has progressed in the fabrics and the designs and the motifs that are used, and it's fascinating to me. And that's why you see all these traditional blocks, just like architecture with real estate, right? You have the traditional stuff, but you also have the movements, like the Victorian movement that happened. Why did they have the giant porches on the outside? Well, during that time, they thought that fresh air and the outdoors. Think about it. The president's moving their wives to better climates.
Yeah.
Things like that,
better air
right?
for her health,
better
and things
air.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So the architecture. Did not think they probably read books. Yeah, because women were set to sanitary for books.
The sanitariums, really. I think, is such a funny name. They're like they're like basically nursing homes, but they were called sanitariums back then.
And they're like closets.
Send your wife off to the sanitarium. Simpler times. I'm just kidding. Couldn't afford that nowadays.
Oh, terrible. But anyways, that's my spiel on quilting and why I do it. And it's not something that I obsess over every day, but it's something that I've done pretty much all my life, ever since I've gotten a hold of fabric.
You started doing it around the time that James is around the time you were pregnant with James. Is this time that you started making your first blankets, and then you switched over to quilts once we bought the house in Ackworth?
You're right.
So you've been doing it over a decade now, and you've got some award-winning quilts, which is great.
Yeah.
But just a little bit on your dad.
Yes.
While we're still on the subject of Veterans Day, this guy is amazing. He was drafted into Vietnam before he ever took up residence in America. He had dual citizenship in Japan.
He was here for like 6 months. That's it, you know?
After World War II, yep. He renounced the Japanese citizenship when he turned 18, basically. Comes to the U.S. Within 6 months, he's drafted into Vietnam. He doesn't even really know much about the U.S. at all at this point.
No.
Goes off to fight, is in the war on the front lines for 2 years. Because he's half Japanese, his nickname is Bait, right? They used to send him out because they would confuse the Vietnamese, and comes back to the typical welcome that all Vietnam people came back to, which is they were basically spat on, so they were like running out of the airport to get on the bus.
Isn't that awful?
All these protesters. It totally is.
I can't even imagine that nowadays.
We were in the Veterans Day parade maybe 3 or 4 years ago with your father, and he rode in the vehicle up front with me as I drove him. And it was the first time he felt thanked and welcome in this country as a veteran.
And the Vietnam War it's the 50th anniversary this year. 50 years to actually
it's insane.
Be thanked.
50
right?
years. Yeah. So to be able to give him this kind of honor a few years later after he first felt like his efforts were appreciated, really meant a lot. Not only to us as a family, but to him and a lot of his friends and the people that he's known throughout the years.
Yeah, and the beauty of social media is that you can post it and people in California and across the world can see it the same day.
Oh, yeah, all the old friends.
Yes, and a lot of them are also military. So they are, even though it's not for them, they also see the happiness in that and appreciation because one of theirs is getting honored.
It's so great.
So it still affects more than just one person.
And we had a very patriotic weekend because that was our Saturday. Sunday, we're out with the kids with CAR, Roswell City Hall, putting up the Field of Flags.
Yes.
Which honors, I think this year we had 46 flag displays that we set up, which was great. Kids got to do that. They had a lot of fun. And while the adults were putting the finishing touches on it for them, all the kids were running around and swinging flagpoles at each other. And, just doing the things the kids do, which is great.
But, we also honor Kurt Wilson, who is the mayor of Roswell. He is an Army veteran, and he's front and center in that display.
He is.
Yes, they actually request us to put that up every year, and it's in the calendar for Roswell this year. So last year's display is...
The 2025 calendar featured... One of the months it was the photo. I think it was November.
I think
Veterans
so.
Day.
Yeah.
But that was we're in the calendar for that.
Pretty cool.
And now we're cleaning out the storage closet at Select Realty because our family is the new designated storage for all of the supplies for that great tradition. So from honoring service, which we did this past weekend and today, to gathering in gratitude, I want to talk about what's on the calendar because we've got our next big holiday coming up here shortly with Thanksgiving.
This is Americana.
This is...
Thanksgiving.
This is one of my favorite holidays.
Well, that's because you grew up in Boston.
Pilgrim Town, yep.
Yeah, well, you were born in Boston. You didn't grow up there.
I was born in Boston. I grew up about 45 minutes away in a small town. I'm a very small town guy. So, but we grew up with all the Thanksgiving story being front and center. Basically, Massachusetts, as everything starts getting dark, it starts getting more Massachusetts because, it starts off with Halloween and what scarier place in America than Salem, Massachusetts, right? So it's like all the witches' stories were big in that state. Right after Halloween, boom, right into Thanksgiving where the Pilgrims landed. So, we don't see them down here, but cornucopias are huge in New England and Massachusetts.
That's the funniest thing because I'm Georgia born.
Yeah.
And I've always lived in Georgia. And then you came over and said, okay, well, we've been together for a very long time. But
a long time.
You decided that you wanted a cornucopia, and I could not understand the obsession over a cornucopia.
I never said I want one. I just pointed out the fact that we don't do it down here.
You said you wanted a giant cornucopia on the middle of the dining table, and I said, okay.
Did I say that?
Yes, you did.
Oh, maybe I thought it would be funny.
So I said, that's fine, but I've never seen a giant cornucopia in Georgia.
We still don't have a cornucopia.
I've never seen one.
I don't think they exist down here. Fun fact, if you know what a cornucopia is... Send us photos of your cornucopia.
I have questions.
In Georgia.
I have questions about cornucopias. So was it just decoration or did you actually have real food in it?
No, I don't think there was ever real food in it. They put like the fake corn, like the dried Indian corn in it and like pumpkins and gourds and all that kind of stuff. It was just a decorated thing.
Okay, so Georgia Elementary School, I remember the placemats that we would color.
We did the placemats, yep.
Right?
And then pilgrim hats.
The pilgrim hats out of paper. We did that.
I don't think our kids have ever come home with pilgrim hats.
Well, by the time that they come home, they're all ripped up.
I don't think I've ever seen them.
Yes, they have.
Have you?
Yes. Oh. St. Anne Preschool did it.
Preschool. Gotcha.
Yes. Middle school's not going to want to walk around with paper on their head?
Well, naturally, but I'm talking like your elementary school, like your first, second graders. That was like a big project up until like second grade.
But that's it. Yeah. That's what we do. I mean, y'all probably took field trips to Plymouth Rock or something because you could.
Our 5th grade field trip was the Freedom Trail. So like, yeah.
So jealous of that.
It was really cool.
That is one thing that I do not like about Georgia, and I rarely ever say that, is that we don't have that cool history. We do. It's different.
It is.
And
we've got things like Herd's Ferry, right? Where you...
Yeah.
We don't have lots of monuments, but there are really cool places where you can go and just be where the history was.
Yeah, but I wish... just being in those kids' shoes, I wish our field trips were a little bit more exciting. Right?
Yeah.
Than a rock mound.
Did they go to a rock mound here?
Well, Etowah Indian Mounds. Yeah. And then there's the 4-H Rock Eagle. That's the rock mound that I was talking about.
Oh, yeah, I like Rock Eagle.
They're great. They're really great. I love Native American history, but it's not as cool as Ironsides, right?
Nah, Constitution's really cool.
USS Constitution. I mean, that would have been cool.
Yeah, and because we had a harbor, like, they would always bring in battleships, and you'd be able to, like, do air shows, and... yeah, we would go down to Rhode Island, and they'd have, like, all the battleships, and they would do, like, events. You could go on them. It was really cool. I did a lot of that stuff with the Scouts when I was young.
Yeah, no. Okay. Difference in states.
It is, but, you know, when it comes to Thanksgiving, you know, we do have some traditions that we keep, and we're not going to go too far in depth because we've got a little special episode coming up for you for Thanksgiving next week. But... what are some traditions that you grew up with and then we still keep for Thanksgiving?
That we still keep?
Yeah. What are some of your favorite traditions as a kid?
You know, it's the funny little things that I think of when I think of these holidays, right? Okay. Because, yeah, you get together, you do the dinner and everything. But distinctly Thanksgiving, distinctly... you're going to not even see this coming. I think of chairs and tables being moved, and then, you know, the long line of tables where it, like, reaches out into the hallway type of thing where everyone's sitting together, and then the kids' table.
Yep.
That's what I think of when I think of Christmas and Thanksgiving, is that everyone trying to piece together tables and make this huge banquet thing. And it just looking weird.
Yeah. The you know, at my grandma's house when I was younger, we would always have a small table in the kitchen. That was the kids, like, that was the kids' table.
Yeah.
And then in the dining room, they would bring in like 3 extra tables, and it's like cramming everybody in.
Yeah.
Yeah, so totally.
I think that's a tradition. I really do.
Our kids haven't experienced that yet because we're both only children. So we don't have too many adults taking up that whole table.
They will.
But yeah, they will.
Yeah. So that's one. And then cranberry sauce is definitely... more so, I think you like cranberries more than I do because you have an affiliation with it.
I grew up in Cranberry Town.
Yes. Yeah, I was skating on cranberry bogs. I only saw cranberries emerge during Thanksgiving. So
that's funny. Okay, yeah, we're still good. I'm just checking the audio because I thought I lost it for a sec.
Oh, no.
Nope.
Yeah, the cranberries come out to play, so it's not the zombie kind, you know.
Yeah.
Dolores Riordan. But, yep, she's passed away. But it's the canned kind. But I like the homemade kind better.
I'm definitely a fan of homemade everything.
Yeah.
When it comes to food, homemade always beats... you know, pre-made or canned or processed. So I'm a big fan of that. You know, I like the tradition of always saying something that we're thankful for, you know, before starting dinner.
You like that?
Yeah. You know, I grew up with it as a kid. So it's, how do you have a holiday about being thankful without saying what you're thankful for?
I thought it was a holiday about being thankful that they didn't starve.
It is a holiday to give thanks for basically everything that we have. It's a holiday of remembrance. thankful that they didn't starve. Yeah, but why am I celebrating a holiday for a handful of pilgrims when that doesn't apply to really today? It's like, great, yeah, they didn't starve, but if they did starve, they probably just would have been 3 other boats that came the next season. But I think the purpose of the holiday is that you're relying on those in your community, right? You know, the Pilgrims relied on the Indians and the Native Americans, and they shared resources, so they were efficient. You know, trade happened. It was the start of commerce in America, but it was all kind of getting together to celebrate and do the bounty, so to say. And I like that we could still carry that on because, you know, our family, we have so much to be thankful for. Not only are we alive and breathing and healthy, but we're in America. We're capitalist. We have more opportunities now than any point in human history. And it's just a lot to be grateful for. We've all won the lottery in America. So I like carrying that on and keeping it alive. So,
you want to ask me what the least favorite part of Thanksgiving is for me?
Hell yeah. What's the least favorite?
Going around and saying what you're thankful for.
Is it really?
Yes, I hate it.
Oh my gosh.
Can't stand it. Every time you bring it up, I'm like, oh, here we go again.
Heaven forbid you actually say out loud.
I know. Maybe I'll find a cornucopia for you one day. You'll be happy with that.
One Thanksgiving, I'll come to the table, I'll find a cornucopia, and my wife will be like, don't ask me what I'm thankful for. But here you go. Totally.
Trade you.
I love it. So let's make your day easy with local Thanksgiving planner. If you don't like doing all the work, right, there's kind of a debate. Do I cook at home or do I go out?
You can do both, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, when I was younger, the very first time anybody approached the idea of eating out for Thanksgiving, I was like, you're crazy. We don't do that. That's like sacrilege. And then we did one year. And then it ended up being like a great time. Your dad took us to the Officers Club at Dobbins Air Force Base.
That was your first time eating out?
That was my first time ever not eating a Thanksgiving dinner at a table with family on Thanksgiving.
I didn't. But you realize that that's his tradition. That's what home feels like to him because that's where he went.
He grew up on base.
In Japan on base. And they would go to the Officers Club because, they were American base people. And it's Thanksgiving. So you're going to have a meal, right?
Yeah.
So that was his dining room. Your equivalent.
It was.
Yeah.
And I got to experience that. That was great. But
it's really good food, too.
It was so good.
Yeah.
Unless you have ID, you ain't getting in there. So
but kudos.
Were lucky. We got in on base as guests.
Kudos to the Dobbins Air Force Base chefs. You are amazing.
I think the year that we did that, they had like a prime rib. They had turkey. It was so. I ate so much. and the best part was James was really little when we did this.
Yes.
And you could just kind of walk up to the fences along the runway and just look at the planes. And for a little kid, this was like huge. Cloud nine for him, right?
Yes.
So very, very cool thing that we're able to do there. But if you like to go out to eat instead of doing all the work and clean up at your house, then you're in luck because we've got some Thanksgiving events going on, and there's a few restaurants around here that have made some advertisements for some things that they're doing.
You can even pre-buy things, freeze it, and then just warm it up the day of.
Oh, yeah.
From a restaurant. So that's an option, too. You can do a hybrid.
Mm-hmm. You know, they closed the restaurant down, but Phil... he used to take orders in advance and smoke whole turkeys. Remember that?
Oh,
you
Catfish
did that before?
Hawks.
Yeah, Catfish Hawks.
I do believe we went to South City Kitchen.
Yeah, I think we did that once.
They have opened up a few more locations, and I think that I saw them at the Avalon in Alpharetta. You know how the Avalon has grown. It's how do you explain the Avalon? It's a multi-use.
It's a mixed-use development. There's shopping, dining. There's
and it's
office complex. There's residence.
400
Yeah, it's 400 in Alpharetta.
Yeah, so Fulton County, right next door. You just get right off the highway, and it's this giant gathering of high-end stores, West Elm, Crate and Barrel, things like that. Mm-hmm. Our house and hotels. It's convention worthy, I guess.
Oh yeah, lots of conventions.
Yeah, and then there's also housing as well. Mm-hmm. That's right there. So, and then you have these really cool restaurants that are kind of dotted around as well.
Yeah, there's some good ones.
Yeah, very different food too at times. Like there's a lot of ethnic food, and then there's also like the street food. You know, like the cool hot dogs or stuff like that, where you never thought that you'd have kimchi on it. You know, right. And you're like, this is really good.
I think I've been to the Eat at the Avenue maybe 4 or 5 times in different restaurants each time, and I've never been disappointed. There's always been something really great. There's been something that's delicious and good atmosphere, and there's a range of different prices that you can choose from. So, yeah. Coming up for Thanksgiving, we've got. Let's see, the Hilton Atlanta Marietta Hotel and Conference Center is having Thanksgiving brunch from 11 to 3. That'll feature a buffet and live jazz. Of course, they recommend making reservations.
Now, this is not the Marietta Country Club.
Correct. No, this is the Hotel and Conference Center, Hilton, right off of South Marietta, Powder Springs.
By the square.
By the square, yeah.
Yeah, so don't confuse the two.
Yep. Max Chophouse is open from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. The last seating is at 7.
That's on the square.
That's on the square. Same with Camp and Harry's on the square. Thanksgiving dinner is November 27th, $65 per person, 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. Reservations recommended. I think you're getting the hint here. If you don't have reservations, you should try and get them. Otherwise, you're going to be cooking at home. Gianni and Max has a Thanksgiving buffet with turkey and glazed ham carving station, Italian comfort staples, penne vodka, lasagna, dessert bar with pumpkin, pecan, and tiramisu, and cannoli. So if you want an Italian twist, you can go over to Gianni and Max. So if you're dining out, tip your staff well for the holidays, please. Please be kind to the holiday crew. And then if you need something to burn off some of those calories, you can check out the Must Ministry Gobble Jog is happening. The 10K, 5K, 1K, and Tot Trot, which will start your day on a high note and free up some space for all that turkey and stuffing later on.
I want to see little tots toddling.
The older our kids get, the more I forget about how cute they used to be.
They're cute still.
They're still cute, but they were really, the little feet just moving.
I know, the puffy feet.
All right, so if we're talking about the great debate between home and restaurant, right? Mm-hmm. Which do you take if you had your choice?
I like home because you can slowly go back for seconds and then go back to the couch and lay down and go back for more.
Yeah.
And then graze. So I like that flexibility. But I also like dining because it's like a go in, get out, you're done, right?
There's a whole lot less cleanup. You can enjoy more time, right? So it's like with restaurant, there's predictable timing. You've got a menu, so it's like
and everyone gets what they want.
You don't have to deal with that. But
I don't believe that there are any picky eaters.
Cons about the restaurant, though, is that if you've got the crazy uncle that loves to make a scene, you're in public, so everybody's gonna see you.
Yeah.
So if you've got like an SNL drunk uncle in your family,
the loud family.
The loud family.
That's from the 70s, I think. Yeah.
Sometimes having that at home in private might be a little bit better. I don't know.
Yeah. Judge your family.
The pros to home. I'm a big fan of leftovers, right? You've got all those leftovers, the gobbler sandwiches that you were going to be eating for a month. I
had never known the name for that.
Yeah.
Until I met you.
You're welcome. That's a Massachusetts thing.
Is it really?
I don't know. I'm presuming so. It was a thing in my family. And restaurants up there after Thanksgiving, they would have sandwiches on menus called the gobbler. And
really?
Turkey, stuffing, gravy, cranberry, little mashed potato if you got it.
All together?
All together.
Then you just eat it like a sandwich?
It's a Thanksgiving meal between bread.
I think that's a Massachusetts thing.
Oh, yeah. And if props to it, you get bonus points if it's on a leftover roll, if you have rolls left over from the meal. But yeah, that's a gobbler sandwich. It's good stuff.
Well, now I know.
Now you know. You've been Yankeefied.
Some things just don't make it here because y'all can't say things like pecans, you know?
Oh, pecans? Pecan pie? Are we doing this on the show? We're gonna do this?
Anyways.
I love it. So, decision framework here, if you got to map it out, is head count versus kitchen capacity. Important to figure it out. Budget versus time, as you mentioned, a whole lot more expensive to eat out.
I mean, yeah, like if you're hosting and you have a studio apartment, you might want to go out. Budget versus time, yeah. If you have it in your budget, it might be worth it for your sanity. Or if you like staring at cornucopias at home, then you stay at home.
Or you find a restaurant with a cornucopia.
Yeah.
I don't think
this next one really, I think, is the reason why a lot of people eat at home. It's because of dietary needs. And, even though we kind of laugh, there are people with serious illnesses like celiac disease. And it really does hurt them. So I could see those people staying at home and,
That's true.
Having their own gluten-free, like they know that it has no gluten type of thing.
Yeah. And then, you also have things like the traditions that everybody eats every year, right? If you've got grandma's favorite, like whatever meal she makes, as long as she doesn't cook like the grandmother in National Lampoon's
The cat?
Christmas Vacation, where she puts cat food in the Jell-O, you're good. But if you got a grandma who can cook, everybody wants that. You love it. So
that is one tradition that I am so glad is not coming back, and that's the savory aspic.
Oh, have you seen some of those old recipes, like on like Instagram or TikTok?
Jell-O and Cool Whip and mayonnaise are not supposed to be anywhere near each other.
I forget the account, but there's this one lady who's like in Minnesota, and she makes these Midwestern salad recipes from like the 40s, 50s, and 60s.
Yes.
And they look awful. They look so bad. And
they're not salads.
No, but they're all in Jell-O.
Yes. And I'm pretty sure they're called
so
aspic. ASPIC.
That's it. There's a name for it? Aspic?
Gobbler sandwich.
I gotta Google it. Jeez Louise.
So I'm teaching you what aspic is, and you taught me gobbler sandwich. Yes.
You're right. Aspic is a savory, clear jelly made from meat, fish, or vegetable stock that solidifies when chilled, often with a gelatin added for a firmer set.
Okay, so
gross.
When you make a meat dish, you know that jelly that's on the side of your leftover container?
Yeah.
So it's an entire meal made out of that jelly with other stuff shoved into it made to look pretty. I'm so glad this tradition hasn't come back.
I'm glad I know how to cook, so
right,
I don't need to rely on this.
Or you would go to a Tupperware party and then you'd bring this, wiggly jiggly thing of...
Ew.
I don't think that National Lampoon's cat food was too far off.
I don't...
Quit looking at those pictures.
Gross.
There's carrots and peas in that one.
that looks like... it looks like Pepto-Bismol and Jell-O.
It's like someone was trying to do something and they forgot a whole bunch of things and it just solidified.
Yeah. Oh, gosh. All right. So also, you can't mention it. Cast your vote, restaurant at home. Tell us why, and we'll share a handful next week.
And if you've ever created aspic or eaten aspic, please let me know. I want to know why.
If you have a stance on this topic, feel free to reach out. Let's dive into this as a
community. First of all, why did you make it, and what did it taste like?
Yeah. 10-foot pole. The other tradition for me has always been the Macy's parade.
Oh, yeah.
Every Thanksgiving, getting up, watching the parade, or having the parade on while I'm starting in the kitchen.
Wasn't it Disney that has one too, or is that just Christmas?
Disney is Christmas.
Okay.
At least the big one. I'm sure Disney has like a parade every day.
Well, like, yes, but
So
I'm sure they have one for Halloween too, but the big one is Macy's, right?
Big one's Macy's.
Okay.
Disney will be Christmas, and then New Year's is the Rose Bowl.
Yeah, and Santa's at the very end.
I know him.
You went to the North Pole.
I know him. I met him at the North Pole this year. That was fun.
Did. We were in North Pole, Alaska in July.
Other than the Christmas shop, they've got, it's the city with candy cane street lights. It's really cute. While we're here, we've got some cold weather coming up. Wanted to make a quick PSA to everybody about some winter home maintenance because, we're in real estate, so we can't not tell you the things that you should be paying attention to. But
no, you're also a property manager, so you have to let these people know that, hey, we have freezing temperatures. Yesterday, we didn't even break 40 degrees.
No. And it's when the temperature stays cold that your house is at risk. So here's a quick few rapid fire essentials to getting your home ready for the cold weather. One is heat and safety. Get your furnace serviced for the year. Make sure that your filters are replaced. Have your carbon monoxide detectors tested and smoke detectors tested. Make sure those batteries are working. By the way, your detectors need to be replaced every 10 years. So if they haven't been replaced in 10 years, it's time to just replace them.
And if you hear the beeping, other people can hear it too.
And if you don't hear the beeping, but they're beeping, then it's been doing that a really long time. You should probably
pay attention.
It's your life. Fans go clockwise in the winter. It's going to push that hot air down to keep that warm much warmer.
I don't think a lot of people
warmer.
Yeah, I don't think they realize that there's a little switch for the direction on your or your ceiling fans.
Yes, there is. So you want to go clockwise in the winter and counterclockwise in the summer. What that does is it changes the direction. The fan is either going to push air down or pull air up. So when you turn it clockwise, it's going to make sure that hot air is circulating through the room and not sitting up there at the ceiling. It'll push it down. Let's see. Drafts and efficiency. So go through with your caulking for the appropriate job. Fix those weather stripping where needed. Make sure you're paying attention to drafts in your house. Window kits are sold. They're relatively inexpensive. You can go through and fix the windows. Heavy drapes in the winter will help keep the house warm, especially if you've got older wooden windows like us. If you're in an older 70s built house with those single panes still, drapery really, really makes a difference.
Well, and sometimes you're trying to get things together, but you don't have, the money to put drapery because window treatments cost a lot, right? So if you have single pane windows that aren't as efficient as the double pane, then put a sheet up temporarily just to block things out. You will be surprised at how much warmth is kept in from a single sheet.
Draft busters, like the little, you could either have they make them, they go at the bottom of the door, or you can roll up a towel, and put that at the base of the door. The whole idea is just to keep that cold air from coming in. With plumbing, make sure that you're protecting against freezing. So if you have exposed pipes, you want to make sure those are insulated. Make sure that your exterior hose bibs, that's the little faucet outside, you want to make sure that the water is cut off to them, that they're left open so that any water inside can drain. And then you want to cover them with, they make little styrofoam hose bib covers, and they just clip on, and then it's a string, and it keeps your pipes insulated because your pipes are going to get cold, and that cold will come inside the house and freeze. And what happens when it freezes? It expands and bursts.
Don't you have a horror story about one of these freezing?
Take your pick. I got a few.
You've got a few, really?
I've dealt with freezing pipes many times, particularly around vacant homes. And there was one Probably the worst one that we had, now I've had a lot, but the worst one happened the day before we moved a tenant in. We got a really bad freeze. I wasn't managing the house. I was just placing the tenant for the owner. So the owner, this would have been his responsibility to protect the house. He didn't. And he left the heater off in a 22-degree night. And then the next day I show up to move the tenant in, and the pipes upstairs burst and flooded the entire main level. And this is back in 2015. This is a $500,000 house. So this is like an $800,000, $900,000 house today in Sandy Springs. Very nice community. But he wasn't paying attention to it. He didn't have the house prepped. And then it became an insurance claim. It was 30 days, 45 days delayed before we moved a tenant in. That tenant ended up not taking possession of the house. They just terminated, as was their right. And we had to put it back on the market. So
pay attention.
You got to pay attention to this stuff, y'all. Like if it's going to be cold, keep that heat on. Make sure that your exterior hoses, if you have a hose that you leave on all year, time to disconnect the hose, because you'll split and crack your hose open. Ask me how I know. I've done that one. Just out of not paying attention. So hopefully reminding you to do this stuff will prevent those from happening. Keep your gutters clear, trim your branches, cover tender plants, just insulate them. Make sure that if you've got a tree that's dying, that it's trimmed back. You don't have any branches that can just freeze and fall off and hit your house.
And what happens if you leave the trees or the leaves on the roof? I've seen so many people with that. They just leave it there. They don't clean it off.
Well, they hold moisture, so it can be a home for insects. And it can, when you leave moist areas up against your house, mold and mildew and rot start to set in over time.
Yeah.
So
your 15-year roof is not going to last 15 years.
Yeah. I mean, you could easily take years off of the lifespan by just ignoring it. If you get somebody up there to clean your gutters even once a year, you're going to keep your loof just fine. But do it after all the leaves have fallen, not before. Fireplace, this is another thing. We had to do this the last year, actually. Did a lot of fireplace maintenance. We needed a new chimney cap because when it rained, we started smelling that soot coming down into the house. Turns out our chimney cap had rusted, so we got a new one out there. We also decided to make some upgrades to it, so we did the whole shroud, which is the decorative piece on your chimney.
Most houses don't have that anymore, though, right?
A lot of new construction does have it. Older homes, less so. And it usually is on your higher end homes. So like our neighborhood, the homes when they were built in the 70s, none of them had a chimney shroud. But I think it's a nice upgrade. Cosmetically, it adds a lot of curb appeal to the house. It feels like a finished product to me.
Does it protect it better?
No, it's pure cosmetic. It's just throwing $3,000 at the house. But it was a really nice piece, and it could have been more, but that included the new chimney cap and a bunch of maintenance that they did inside, and education, because I learned that not all fire log racks are created equal. You have two different heights. You have the height for wood burning and you have the height for gas burning.
Really?
So if you have a gas burning like log rack, it might be too low for your to get a proper draft coming in.
Right, because you need oxygen to burn it.
Yeah.
What do we have?
Now we have everything set up right.
Right, but we had lower.
We had a low one. It was like 2 or 3 inches off of the floor, and then the wood burning one is like 4 or 5 inches up. So you've got that extra area for that draft to come in and pull the fire up.
Well, one important thing is that you also cleared out all the ashes.
I do that multiple times a year, but I didn't do it at the end of season last year, so I had to go in and clean that all out. I did that for the solo stove. We got a fire pit out back too.
Yep. Don't leave the ashes in there.
make sure all of your tool. So duct cleaning, something to consider. Chimney sweep is huge. We do that every other year at a minimum because we burn a lot of wood. Sometimes we do it annually, depending upon how much wood we go through. But I get my fireplace cleaned basically every time I burn a full cord. So I'll burn a full cord of wood, and then we'll just bring them out and have it cleaned up. So
for people who don't know, it's like, you know how you measure apples in a bushel?
Yes.
And then you have a peck, and then you have something else that I don't remember.
Yeah, a cord is like 4 foot by 4 foot by 4 foot.
Yeah.
Something like that.
So that's specific firewood calculation name?
Yeah, basically a truckload. A cord is going to be basically a little bit bigger than a full pickup bed.
Oh, I don't know. Cars have been they've been growing big. Like, I don't know. Cars used to be so much smaller.
Like the pickup bed? Like a truck bed?
Cars in general. Now I see, F-350s with like the ears on the sides. And
oh yeah, well
those are big.
You can thank regulations and consumerism for that. But all right, so just to recap, we didn't cover this under events. For our seniors in the community coming up, just a quick PSA, the Freeman Pool Senior Center is going to be doing a Freeman Thanksgiving. This is on Monday the 17th, so before Thanksgiving. There is a $20 cost of attendance. Registration is required, and it's from 12:30 to 2. So if you or any of your folks are using the services at the Freeman Senior Center, by the way, our senior services in Cobb County does so much cool stuff.
You were so impressed with that.
I really was. And this is one of those things. So I learned about this at Cobb 101. They do so many incredible events for our community, and this is just one example. We're putting on Thanksgiving for our seniors, and it's great. They'll have a place to go for camaraderie and traditional food, so definitely do that. The Must Ministries Gobble Jog is happening Thanksgiving Square, and then you've got your choice of where you're going to go for eating if you're going out, followed by some Thanksgiving Day parade, and making sure that your house is prepped for this cold weather.
And we'll be able to watch Macy's because it's not in the YouTube TV whole scandal thing.
Oh my God. I canceled YouTube TV because, one, I wasn't watching it that often. I keep it for the Georgia games. And then Disney decides to get into this, debacle over how much they're going to charge. Screw you, greedy Disney. And I couldn't watch my Georgia game, at least the first half, until I figured out that Sling TV does a day pass. It's $5.
But this this Macy's Day Parade though is on NBC and Peacock,
yes.
8:30 a.m.
So
I believe
if you've got YouTube TV, NBC is there. You're fine.
Yeah, but I think you can even find it on their website, right?
Yeah, you can find it with an over-the-air antenna.
Oh,
it's NBC.
They still have those?
They do.
Who knew?
I didn't, but your father bought one, and there's a couple up at the cabin that I just saw laying around.
Oh, good.
So next week we got a little treat for you. It won't be a full episode, but we got a little abbreviated, fun episode. So join in, and we hope that you all have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Thank you to all of our veterans for all that you have done and continue to do, making our wonderful country exactly what it is. And we'll see you next week.
God bless America.